Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Cameron Ure. I am the owner of Real Estate Agent School, and in this video, I'm going to be reviewing one of my very own students' door knocking recordings while he is out prospecting, speaking with a live actual client. This video is going to be super exciting because I'm going to break down his script, what I would have done differently, and what I would have said for more success on the doors. This specific student is a part of my premium membership in the Real Estate Agent School, where I cover scripts, door knocking, best practices as a real estate agent, and how to go from a brand new agent or struggling agent to a successful top producing agent within your first year of being an agent. So in this video, you're going to learn tons of tips and tricks on how to successfully knock doors as a real estate agent. Let's jump into the video. So to give you a premise of what's going on with the recording I'm about to play you, Joe, my student, is knocking a door, prospecting for new business. When knocking doors, you want to have a conversation, be laid back, and use questions to be successful when talking to somebody on their doorstep. In this conversation, the prospect pretty much says, nope, not interested. And Joe asked a couple more questions, and we're going to break down his script to see how he could have been more successful in turning this client into a successful prospect.
Hi, my name is Joe. I'm with Baird & Warner, and I'm just walking around introducing myself to neighbors. And I'm not sure if you're aware, inventory is still pretty low. I'm just curious to see if you guys are looking to sell or interested in selling.
So even the recording is a little bit muffled, obviously, because the recorder is in his pocket, but he introduced himself by saying, hey, I'm going around, I'm a real estate agent, I'm introducing myself to the neighbors, not sure if you know, but inventory is still really low. Have you thought about selling your home? And this homeowner says, no, not really. And so the very first thing that I want to talk about is when you're first introducing yourself to somebody, you want to have a conviction or something that is very, very enticing to the homeowner to continue that conversation with you. When you're just saying, hey, I'm introducing myself to neighbors, I don't really care if I was the homeowner to get to know you. If you're a salesperson or somebody that doesn't live in my neighborhood, I'm not super interested. And so a different approach, or something that you could say differently, is saying, hey, I just sold a home down the street, or hey, did you see the home that recently just sold down the street? Something along those lines, or even if you have a client interested in potentially purchasing in that neighborhood, that's something you could mention. That's going to grab the seller's attention. They're going to want to know what that home sold for. It's going to give you authority for the fact that you are in the neighborhood working, having deals, having clients, and they're going to want to open up to you and have a further, more productive conversation with you at the door. So let's continue on in the script and see how else the conversation goes.
Not at this time,
Not at this time? Yeah, you look at this here forever home?
no.
No? Okay.
But, yeah, it's not a full buyer's market right now.
So I'll pause there. Joe asks a fantastic question. Is this your forever home? Pretty much wondering if, are you going to die here? Are you going to ever buy real estate in the future? Do you want to move eventually? Fantastic question, because it fleshes out another response from the client that gives more information, makes them talk more. So what's even more fantastic about that question is this specific prospect goes into why he's concerned. So for example, he then starts to talk about how it is not a buyer's market. This is an interesting stance for a prospect to say where, hey, I don't want to buy anything right now because it's not a buyer's market. Yet this person owns their house, which makes it a seller's market. And so they're almost contradicting themselves. Obviously, you have to sell and buy in real estate, but there are so many questions to ask to truly unflesh why that is a concern. So in the following script, Joe could have asked some of the following questions. Number one, what is a buyer's market to you? Understand the knowledge of the prospect around the real estate market. What in their mind makes up a buyer's market? What is currently making it a buyer's market? Why is it not a seller's market? Or is it a seller's market? Who knows? Because you never really know what their education level is, and then you can help educate them on the pros and cons of their specific situation, whether if they sell right now and buy, if the math still works. Because Yes, sometimes right now you're going to sell and take a little bit of a haircut on your purchase price or sale price of your home, but you can then go get a great deal on the purchase of a new home. Or if in your market it's flipped, it's all about running the numbers and educating your client. So let's continue forward and hear how the rest of the conversation goes.
Better for sellers. Yeah, I just did right around the corner. I did we call a property review for someone here, and give an indication of what value you can expect if you sell it. So it is definitely more of a seller's market for these houses. But okay, not interested right now.
So let's pause right there for a second. The conversation flows into Joe saying, hey, I did a CMA or a market review, or I can't specifically remember what words he used, but probably the same thing, regarding a person's home value, and was saying that in his market, it's currently a seller's market, which is interesting, which is awesome. And if it's a seller's market in somebody's market right now, that means homes are selling. That means they're selling for a lot. It's challenging for buyers because they're selling, interest rates are higher. And so that creates an interesting dynamic to then educate this specific homeowner that, okay, well, if it's a seller's market, wouldn't that be worth you looking into potentially taking advantage of that and selling your home? So here are some following questions that you could use when somebody responds with, it's a seller's market. I don't want to go buy right now because it's too expensive. One of the questions that I would ask is if you could make enough money off of your current home to offset the increased expense when buying, would it be something that you're interested in? This is an awesome question because it brings up emotion and money. Everybody wants more money. Everybody wants to save money. And so if you can structure their situation to the point where they're going to actually save or make more money, most people are going to be interested in listening to you and furthering the conversation. The second question I would be asking is if it's a seller's market and they're able to make a great profit off of their current home, what are they going to do with that equity? A lot of times homeowners just think they're going to roll it into their next house. It's still going to cost them a bunch of money because of increased interest rates. But there are so many other ways to use equity properly to structure their payment to actually save money on a monthly basis. If you haven't seen my video on that, definitely check the link in the comments of how I break down how to use equity properly to restructure a homeowner's payment to actually save them money on a monthly basis. So moving forward into the final part of this conversation, Joe pretty much then resorts to asking, so are you not interested? At this point, I totally understand if you're out of questions, stumped on where to go, and not sure how to move forward, and that is totally okay. But the key to this is practicing what questions you should have asked or could have asked to increase the conversation and further the conversation so that doesn't have to be asked. So with that being said, this conversation actually doesn't end there. He says, not interested, yeah, not really right now, but it keeps going. So let's jump back into the recording.
Interested right now?
Not right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have to obviously buy something.
Yeah.
It would be ridiculous. The place is paid off, so just wait until rates come down and it's more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if rates come down, it's just going to be a little bit harder to buy because a lot of people are
Well,
waiting
it's
right
harder to
now.
buy now because I've been looking to buy now.
Yeah.
It's harder to buy now.
Yeah.
People are I'm not going to
Yeah.
overpay for a property.
Yeah. Yes.
With this being said, this homeowner is pretty much saying, my house is paid off. I own my house free and clear, and I want to wait because buying right now is way too expensive, which is extremely interesting if this person's home is paid off. What we just learned that this homeowner has a massive amount of equity and they don't want to buy because they're waiting for rates to come down. So if you understand rates and how the market works at all, if rates come down and home prices are still strong in this market, that is a recipe for an absolute explosion of real estate growth. If that market is strong and rates come down to make it more affordable, it is only going to get more and more competitive to successfully purchase a home. Obviously, this person's home is paid off, and so it would be the question of, hey, are you buying in cash? Obviously, it doesn't sound like that because they're concerned about interest rates, but This is the things that we need to be educating our clients on, and what Joe should have done in a different manner of asking questions of, okay, so if interest rates come down, how do you think that affects home prices? This then gets the seller to think, well, if rates come down, that means more people can buy, which then that means people would be more competitive. People would be offering more. There'd be more homes for sale, which just equals growth in the real estate market, making it more and more expensive. So if we're then able to educate this client on, if you were to sell now, yes, you'd be getting a higher interest rate, but you'd be saving yourself from having to make crazy competitive offers. You'd be capitalizing on the strong seller's market that's happening right now. And you'd be able to refinance when those rates do come down and ride the absolute explosion wave of real estate growth in that specific market. So these are the things that we can discuss with our clients at the doorstep. And just by asking these type of questions of, if rates come down, what happens to home prices? If home prices come down, what usually happens to rates? That's happening right now. Rates go up. And so all of these things are just conversational points that you want to have at the door. One thing I want to point out is, up to this point, no scammy tactics, salesy personality traits, or just scummy type of tactics have come out. I've just been an honest, true, conversational person at this homeowner's doorstep and just enjoying the conversation, just learning about their situation and seeing if you can help. And so if you haven't knocked doors, if you're struggling with prospecting, if you're struggling to be consistent, just go help people. Just put in the numbers, put in the work, and your success will come. So to finish off this conversation, I want to finish the recording and touch on one last thing, and then we'll wrap up this video.
What rates are good for you? What are you looking for in a rate?
But it's more so when there's more supply that's been out there.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to compete with,
Yeah.
10 other people for a product. Yeah.
When that time comes, do you have a realtor that you can use?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Okay.
So the final points of this conversation were, if you did want to make a real estate decision in the future, do you have somebody that you would use? This prospect then answered, yeah, I do. Conversation ended, and Joe went on to the next door. This question is extremely powerful. Hey, if you were to make a real estate decision, do you have somebody you would use in the future? The only way to properly use that question is if you have had a phenomenal conversation up to this point. The reason for this is, if you just asked that question, haven't built any rapport, haven't had any questions that have hit hard, that have helped this prospect, they're going to say yes. They're going to say, yeah, I'm taken care of, thanks. But if you have built rapport, have showed how you can help, and have showed how you are an expert, changing the question just by a small tweak will allow you to get contact information, a future prospect when they're actually ready, and increase your business tenfold. This is the small tweak that I would have Joe make. I would say, well, if now's not the right time, I would love to become your go-to agent for when the time is right. I'd love to stay in touch with you. What's a good email or phone number to reach you at? The reason why this is so powerful is because, one, you're saying, if you don't have an agent already, that's kind of just in the premise to just kind of be kind and courteous. But the second is, I want to earn your business because you want to show that you're willing to work for it and are a hustler. And the third is assuming the sale of getting contact information. Getting contact information is the key to building a massive business. If you can get contact information, grow your business by remarketing these contacts, that person that just from this one conversation could be a future deal just by following up properly and getting their contact information on this first conversation. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm excited for the content to come. I'm sorry there was a bit of a hiatus in content creation, but you are about to be blown up with content from me. I'm excited to provide multiple streams of value. And the last thing I'll say is, this is a little secret. If you have not joined my free Facebook group, I'm going to start going live once a week in there, completely free. Free trainings, free Q&A, just trying to provide as much value as possible. And so if you want to join that, hit the link in the description of this video. You'll get access to my free Facebook group with live trainings, constant posting, ways to collaborate with other agents, and just a resource for you to help you grow and become a better agent. So again, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in my next video.